It is a joy to be back. Thank you for welcoming me. What an awesome responsibility, right? For any of us to get up here and open our mouths, see what comes out. You read the blurb, maybe? We think of ourselves as pretty smart people. Educated, wise even. Immersed in Western cultures that tell us that head smarts are the be-all and the end-all. Well, what about that other stuff? What about our intuition? What about our gut feelings? What about our sixth sense? When did we learn to ignore the wisdom of our inner being? How might that inner sense inform our surviving and our thriving now? Now, I am one highly educated woman. Some of you are highly educated folk in the Western sense. I am not dissing that. There is much to be gained, especially in the area of critical thinking. Yeah, somewhat lacking in some corners of the world. Was that? Say it for the people in the back. Yep. Critical thinking. Yep. All right. There's importance in education and learnedness, yeah, and knowledge, content, things that can be known. But even more important than that, and that's as much a statement for me as it is for many of you lifelong UUs, even more important than head smarts is heart smarts. The gut, the intuition, the na'au, heart, feeling, that stuff, yeah? Even more important, here's my learning curve, even more important is choosing relationship over being right. Choosing kindness over superiority. Anyone feeling convicted yet? Can I get an amen? Amen. Na'au in Hawaiian means intestines, bowel, gut, heart, affections of the heart and mind, feelings. In essence, the word is referring to those innermost feelings, the deep thoughts that come from inside of yourself. We are on, not what's made out of wood, the tail end of the COVID lockdown, yeah? Endemic, still with us. Lockdown, pandemic, please, not so much anymore. But that gave us an uncommon set of opportunities, yeah? To be alone with ourselves, or to be stuck in small spaces with others and have very little alone time. Or to be thrust into the working world, often low-wage working world, where we were indispensable, yeah? Essential workers, always in danger. In the COVID pandemic, loved ones died of the virus and from other much more customary things. And we felt it. Sometimes we felt it differently because we were isolated from our community, from each other. We felt rather than thought it. And for those who turned inward, who shared what they found there, at least in my little slice of the world, I saw more messages of stopping to smell the roses, notice the flowers, really see the sunrise. And some hardened into entrenched beliefs, the ones that square shoulders and tighten muscles and refuse to see new ways or to seek or speak the truth of na'au, of feeling, of connection. Have you attended to what your na'au is telling you? Do you, especially those like me, highly academically educated, taught in Western post-Enlightenment modalities? Do you let the wisdom of your intuition in? Do you acknowledge that you have a sixth sense? Do you listen to what your gut tells you about someone or something? Let us acknowledge that there are times when our gut, our intuition, our sixth sense are in error. Well, same goes for what we learn in academia. My son, one of them, pointed out and showed me the backup video, that there is an error in one of learned people make videos, you go watch them, you learn things. You know, I like the loop. There's an error in one of the examples that Einstein gave to explain his seminal E equals mc squared theory of relativity. It's the example, it's not the theory, but it's the example. He made a mistake, and nobody unpacked that until very recently. Thank God for astrophysicists, man. They'll question anything. Women have intuition. I know, I've experienced it. I've talked with women. You can kind of know if there's a creeper. Tell me you haven't felt that. I honestly have no idea if men have that kind of sense. Like, I don't know. I got to talk to my guys, right? But my experience is that women can feel it. Now, it's important to assess, what you're feeling, using multiple modalities, multiple ways of knowing, especially when you're judging somebody else. People on certain spectra. Some people with social awkwardness may read in ways that are not accurate, for neurotypicals. All right, but let's get back to attending to what our na'au is telling us. If we are not accustomed to registering what our internal wisdom is telling us, we may need to sit with it until we learn to feel it, and then learn to trust it. Right? You had to be acculturated into academia, into Western learning modalities. Sometimes we have to get reaccustomed to other ways of learning. So, take a moment. All of y'all, take a moment in the stillness of this time and these spaces to breathe, to feel, to connect with your center, to honor your own wisdom. Is there something that comes clear for you when you do that? This is not one of those Kyle interactive sermons. I'm not looking for hands. We get to work slowly on this because I'm not assuming church is safe space for everybody. You do you first. Seek your truth. Seek what you know deep inside. Test it against other things that you know. Now, I, as you know, love a quotable quote from a wise source, a pithy saying, an articulate capture of what's muddling around inside of my brain or my heart. We do turn to others for wisdom, and others do have wisdom. Pro tip, so do we. Others may recognize the wisdom that we have to share. They may even be better at recognizing it than we are. We have to be cognizant that we might share with others. Here's something that Jim Rigby, a clergyman and a wise writer, shared. Wisdom crows. He says, when I quote someone on my page, I think he was referring to Facebook page, I am giving the source of an insight, not proposing a life mentor. In my experience, everyone who has ever lived has done something that might disqualify them as a role model. All right, people are looking inward. I hear it. In the same way, probably everyone who has ever lived has something to teach us. Gandhi was a horrible husband and reportedly a bit of a perv. But he developed strategies that liberated millions. The work of Martin Luther King might not have been possible without the flawed Mahatma of India. Schweitzer came to Africa with many colonial assumptions, but he also wrote beautifully of a reverence for life. His hospital brought healing to many Africans. Einstein was also one of the noblest minds ever produced by our species, but he helped in creating the bomb that could very well lead to our extinction. Jim Rigby goes on, I believe wisdom can learn something from anyone, but imitates no one. I don't want to be like those finicky spirits, not y'all, those finicky spirits who can only learn from good examples. I would hope that I can critique the Wright brothers as individuals and still learn the principles that gave them flight. I want my mind to be like the stomach of a goat that can break down and find something of nourishment even in the dumpster. I think of myself as kind of a wisdom-seeking crow. I do not want to live in the nests of others, but I am shamelessly pilfering materials from them to build my own. As a kind of seeker of wisdom, I am trusting you to steal insights from me when they are helpful and to disregard them when they are not. Again, I believe wisdom can learn something from anyone, but imitates no one. Regardless of our act, thus endeth the Jim Rigby reading. Academic achievement. Yeah, some of us overachievers did just fine, thank you. Others didn't come out of academia believing we were worth much. I am here to tell you the basic message of the universe, which I imagine you've heard before, is love. The force of the universe, the ground of all being, all that is, the G word, it's all the big love. And we are intimately connected to it and to each other, na'au to na'au. I'm going to close by sharing with you from the heart of John O'Donohue, whom we heard from last Sunday of Anam Cara. May this be a morning of innocent beginning, with the gift within you slips clear of the sticky web of the personal, with its hurt and hauntings, its fixed fortress corners. A morning when you become a pure vessel for what wants to ascend from the silence. May your imagination know the grace of perfect danger, to reach beyond imagination and the wheel of repetition deep into the call of all the unfinished and the unresolved until the veil of the unknown yields and something original begins to stir toward your senses and grow stronger in your heart. Amen and amene and ashe.